Have you been feeling overwhelmed by stress lately? Like everything is gradually slipping out of your hands, even though you're still trying to control every tiny detail. You plan, you stay on track, you chase results. But the harder you try, the more chaotic things become, right? So let me ask you this. What would happen if, instead of trying to hold on tightly to everything, you tried letting go? It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? But my dear friend, sometimes it is in the very moment we stop forcing ourselves that we touch real strength. In this video, I want to share something that might change the way you see everything. A new approach that allows you to attract what you truly desire without trading it for exhaustion or constant pressure. Sounds hard to believe, but it's absolutely possible. And no, I'm not talking about anything mystical or about sitting back and hoping life will magically fix itself. We're going to explore a few powerful principles inspired by Stoic philosophy, an ancient school of thought that still holds great value in the modern world. These principles will help you learn how to release stress, reclaim your agency in life, and most importantly, take step by step toward what you've always dreamed of. I know this may not be what you were expecting, but that's exactly why it works. So, are you ready to awaken the inner strength within you? Before we continue, I'd like to invite you to step into someone else's shoes, someone whose story might resonate with you more than you think. Let me tell you a true and very relatable story. Javier, a senior executive, someone who always gave others the impression that he had everything under control. A packed schedule, major decisions to make every day, and constant pressure. Mistakes were not an option. He was the type who was always managing, always ready, always strong. But everything comes at a price. One day, during an important presentation in front of his entire team, the unexpected happened. Right in the middle of speaking, his body just shut down. No warning, no sign, just paralysis. He couldn't move, he couldn't speak. A panic attack swept over him like an underground wave, wiping away everything he was trying to hold on to. Javier, the man who once had answers to every problem for the first time in years, felt completely helpless, vulnerable, and broken. In that moment, something stirred within him. What am I doing with my life? Following advice from a friend, Javier did something he never thought he would do. He stepped away. He went to a small cabin in the mountains. No emails, no calls, no meetings, just him and silence. At first, his mind was still spinning. What's happening at the company? What will people say? Am I missing something important? But then, bit by bit, something began to change. As he walked along quiet trails, listening to the wind whisper through the trees, Javier recalled a quote from Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher. "Accept whatever comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" And then it was as if a fog lifted. He suddenly understood. He didn't need to control everything for things to go well. In fact, the more he let go, the more smoothly everything ran. When he returned to the city, Javier no longer filled every gap in his schedule with back-to-back meetings. So what did he do with that free time? He spent time on meaningful things. Time for reflection, for self-care, for having dinner with his family without being glued to his phone. And do you know what the most surprising thing was? When Javier let go of the need to control everything, nothing fell apart. On the contrary, work progressed more smoothly. The workplace atmosphere became lighter and more effective. Performance improved significantly. And for the first time in many years, Javier felt at peace with himself. A peace that came from within. No need to show off. No need to prove anything. Javier's story is clear proof that sometimes true strength doesn't lie in holding on tightly, but in the ability to let go at the right moment. When you stop trying to control everything, you create space for good things to come naturally. Javier found peace by learning to let go. And maybe now it's time for you to do the same. So, to begin this section, I want to ask you a simple question. How many times have you felt like you're carrying an invisible burden on your shoulders, a weight that seems impossible to set down? Maybe today is the moment to tell yourself, that's enough, and open the door to a new world where calm can work wonders. Are you ready? If so, let's begin. 1. Let go and relax. Imagine you are standing on a wide beach. In your hand is a handful of fine sand. You grip it tightly, thinking that's how you hold on to what you want. But what happens? The sand quietly slips through your fingers, and the tighter you squeeze, the faster it escapes. Sound familiar? Could it be that your life feels the same way? The more you try to control everything, the more tangled and unpredictable it becomes. You plan, you anticipate, you worry, you pull strings. But the result? Everything still seems out of reach, and you end up exhausted, breathless, even drained to the point of despair. You find yourself stuck in a closed loop, control failure burnout, and then trying to control again. Let's be honest. Has holding on to control really taken you where you want to go? Or are you just like someone trying to drive a car while keeping the handbrake on? What would happen if you released the brake? That's right. The car would move gently, smoothly, with less strain. And life works the same way. Letting go does not mean giving up. It doesn't mean backing down or surrendering. It's about trust. Trust in the process. Trust in yourself. And trust that things will fall into place naturally when you stop trying to grip everything so tightly. And when you learn how to do that, something wonderful starts to happen. Life begins to organize itself. Picture this. You plan a family vacation. Everything is scheduled to the minute departure time, meal spots, even games to keep the kids entertained. But then what happens? Traffic jam, rain, the kids whining to go home. The whole plan falls apart. So what do? Lose your temper because things didn't go as planned? Or accept that sometimes things are simply beyond your control? Because, dear friend, that's life. You can't control the weather, the traffic, or someone else's mood, but you can absolutely choose how you respond. And this is where Stoic philosophy comes in. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who once ruled a vast empire, once wrote a profound line in Meditations. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together. But do so with all your heart. It feels as if he's whispering to you through the pages. Don't waste energy pressing the gas while the handbrake is still on. Release it. And then you'll see yourself move forward more easily. Because in the end, what truly matters? That everything happened perfectly down to the tiniest detail, or that you genuinely enjoyed the journey. I know, it's easier said than done. The idea of letting go sounds gentle, but in the fast-paced modern world where everyone is pushing themselves to keep up, it's not easy at all. But you're not alone. I'm here to walk alongside you. And I'm going to share 3 simple steps that you can start using today to begin your journey of letting go, relaxing, and from there, attracting the things you truly want. Step 1. Write down your worries, a piece of paper. Write down everything that is making you anxious, concerned, or trying to control. No need to make it neat. Just be honest. For example, I'm trying to control situation X, but I realize I can't. And then crumple up the paper and throw it away. This act may sound simple, but it's powerful. It's like a declaration to your own mind. I won't let this weigh me down anymore. Step 2. Turn red lights into pause signs. The next time something doesn't go your way, a traffic jam, a messy email thread, a changed plan, treat it as a red light in life. Pause for a few seconds. Practice 1 mindful breath. Inhale, count to 4. Hold, count to 4. Exhale, count to 6, that's it. But it's a reminder that sometimes to move forward, you need to stop. Try creating a small blank space in your schedule. Yes, literally doing nothing. It might sound strange, but this is incredibly important. Even if it's just 15 short minutes, imagine what you could do with that time. Maybe listen to your favorite song, gaze at the cloudy sky, or simply relax in complete silence. It's in these seemingly meaningless moments that your clearest ideas and deepest desires finally have a chance to emerge. When you stop trying to control everything around you, you'll begin to think more clearly and attract what you truly want. And do you know what the surprising part is? When you learn to let go, life doesn't fall apart like you feared. Nishir, fact, it starts to come together more clearly and move in the right direction. That's not magic, it's clarity. Because when you stop wasting energy on things you cannot change, you free up an enormous amount of mental and emotional space for what truly matters to you. Now think about this. What if today you decided to let go even just a little, not everything, just a small, gentle step? Stop trying to hold the sand tightly in your hand. Relax and let life flow through. Do you believe that real change begins the moment you choose to let go? Next, let's start the day with strength. Have you ever wondered why some days everything seems to go smoothly, effortlessly, like the whole world is on your side? But on other days, life feels like an uphill battle? The truth is, it has nothing to do with magic or luck. So what does it depend on? You guessed it, that's how you spend the first hours of the morning. Think of it like tuning a guitar before a concert. If you step onto the stage without taking time to tune it, it's going to be a disaster. But if you carefully tune each string, everything will play in harmony. That's the secret to a good day. What you do right after waking up doesn't just shape your mood. It directly affects how everything else unfolds throughout the day. Sounds appealing, doesn't it? Let me share with you a personal experience to help you picture this more clearly. One morning, instead of doing what I usually do, jumping out of bed and grabbing my phone full of notifications, I chose to do something different. I sat quietly for a few minutes, took a deep breath, and gently imagined what kind of day I wanted to experience. Instead of letting notifications dictate my mood, I played one of my favorite songs, the kind that makes you want to dance, no matter how you're feeling. And as I started making coffee, I found myself dancing around my little kitchen. To be honest, it felt a bit awkward at first, but do you know what happened next? That day turned out far better than I expected. Even the small, everyday annoyances that usually bothered me seemed insignificant. It was as if the positive energy from that morning had flowed into everything else that happened throughout the day. And do you know who else deeply understood this idea? The philosopher Seneca. He once said that each new day is a gift, like a blank check that we should make the most of. He often began his mornings by reflecting, writing, and setting his mind toward what truly mattered. Seneca didn't simply react to the world, he prepared himself to face it, and you can absolutely do the same. Would you like to turn the first hours of your morning into a time for focus and intentional energy for the day ahead? So, how will you start your morning differently? I have a suggestion for you. Before you touch your phone, try sitting down comfortably and taking a deep breath. Inhale slowly while counting to 4. Hold your breath for a few seconds, then exhale slowly while counting to 6. Just repeat this 3 times, and you'll clearly feel a positive shift within yourself. This is the moment when you give your body and mind a sense of peace and clear direction to begin the day. For me personally, music has always been the key to unlocking positive energy. So maybe you can try picking an inspiring song, something with a rhythm that makes it impossible to sit still. It might sound silly, but go ahead and do it. It doesn't matter whether you're alone in your kitchen or standing in front of the mirror getting ready. Just dance for a few minutes. You might end up laughing at yourself, but honestly, that's the whole point. No one needs to see you, but trust me, just a few minutes of this will completely shift your mood. And here's another idea. Before you step out the door, take a small moment to think about one thing you want to accomplish that day. Don't pressure yourself. It doesn't need to be a big, ambitious goal. It could be something as simple as enjoying your lunch slowly, without rushing, or getting through the grocery checkout line a little more efficiently. These small intentions bring clarity, and they are the very first steps toward attracting the bigger things you truly desire. Now think about this. How do you want your mornings to feel starting today? Will you choose to wake up in chaos and get swept up in the rush of the day? Or will you take control of your time, create special moments for yourself, and set the pace of the day the way you want? Remember, you don't need a perfect routine, and you don't have to wake up at the crack of dawn to be successful. What you need is simply to start your day with strength, peace, and intention. You know, every morning you wake up is a new opportunity, and how you choose to live it can be the first step toward everything you've ever wished for. Before we move on to the next exciting part, if you found this content helpful, consider subscribing and becoming an exclusive member to receive even more special benefits. And don't forget to share in the comments which steps you'll begin taking to relax more and attract what you truly want in life. We're always here, ready to support and grow with you. Now, let's explore a very important ally, your mind. Imagine your mind as a puzzle. When all the pieces are scattered and disorganized, you can't see the full picture. But what happens when you take some time to sort those pieces? You begin to group them by color, by shape, and suddenly something magical starts to happen. The complete picture gradually appears. My friend, your mind works exactly the same way. When your mind is filled with chaotic thoughts, worries, and stress, it's nearly impossible to see anything clearly. But when you give your mind peace and space, oh, what a wonderful feeling of relief arises, and that's exactly when things start becoming clearer and more orderly. Let me tell you an incredibly powerful story about the strength of the mind. A few years ago, there was a pilot named Chesley Sullenberger, known as Sully. He faced a situation most people would consider a nightmare. Imagine this. You're flying a commercial plane with over 150 passengers on board. Everything is going smoothly until disaster strikes. Both engines fail after colliding with a flock of birds. The plane loses all power, and ahead lies only a densely packed city and the icy Hudson River. If it were us, most of us would probably panic, but Sully did something entirely different. He closed his eyes for just a brief moment, took a deep breath, and within his mind, chaos had no place. Instead, he saw very clearly what he needed to do. He decided to land the plane on the Hudson River, a decision no one could guarantee would work. But he trusted his experience, his crew, and most of all, his ability to stay calm. Want to know what miracle happened? With alarms blaring and all passengers holding their breath, Sully calmly said one clear and firm sentence: "Brace for impact." That wasn't just a technical command. It was a declaration of absolute confidence. In that calm voice, he gave everyone on the plane what they needed most: hope that everything would be okay. Thanks to his composure and his ability to keep his mind focused on the solution, Sully achieved the impossible. He safely landed the plane on the Hudson River and saved everyone on board. Epictetus once said something very true. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Sully couldn't control the engine failure or undo the bird strike, but he controlled his mind. He turned a seemingly chaotic situation into an opportunity for clear, decisive action that saved lives. And this is the most valuable lesson from this story. When you choose to keep your mind at peace, you stop seeing problems and start seeing solutions. So, how can you train your mind to become your best ally? Learn to organize the puzzle pieces in your mind every day. Just take 5 minutes to reflect on what's making your thoughts feel scattered, like pieces of a puzzle lying all over the place. But here's the key. Don't try to solve everything at once. How can you do this without feeling overwhelmed? Try imagining that you're stressed out by 3 things at the same time: a looming work deadline, a recent argument with a friend that's still bothering you, and worries about how you'll manage your monthly expenses. Think of each of these worries as separate puzzle pieces. Take 5 minutes to sort them. For example, place the work project in one corner. Mark it with yellow something you know you can start tackling right now. The disagreement with your friend goes in another corner. Maybe orange something you know can be addressed later, perhaps with a thoughtful message or a phone call. As for the financial concern, put it in a separate folder for now and commit to revisiting it once you sit down to review your budget. You see, by separating and organizing these thoughts clearly, the chaos suddenly loses its grip. The problems no longer overlap or compete for your attention all at once. You may not have solved the entire puzzle yet, but more importantly, you no longer feel overwhelmed. In fact, you may feel a sense of relief and even progress with what previously seemed too difficult to handle. Isn't that worth a try? Remember this: when your mind is at peace, not only do you feel better, but it also opens up limitless possibilities. Things you once thought were out of reach may now be within your grasp. A clear mind is a powerful source of energy that helps you attract what you truly desire. It's time to stop trying to control everything and start trusting in the power that's always been within you. And here's one more thing I want to share. Do everything with calm. Have you noticed how rushing is like a hot pan with no oil? It just burns things quickly, and nothing turns out the way you want. I want to share an important secret with you. Calmness doesn't mean slowness, it's a strategy. Calmness means doing things at exactly the pace they require for the best and smoothest outcome. Imagine this: you're preparing a special dinner and have invited close friends over. You've planned everything carefully, but then you arrive home late and rush to start cooking. You hurriedly chop the vegetables, resulting in uneven pieces. The sauce spills everywhere, and the pasta ends up overcooked because you're distracted trying to monitor the oven. In the end, the meal you serve is nothing like what you had envisioned. Does that situation feel familiar? Now try to imagine the opposite. You give yourself enough time to prepare. You calmly and carefully chop the ingredients, enjoying every moment of the process. You taste the sauce as you cook and fine-tune the flavor to your liking. Your pasta is cooked perfectly al dente, and the result is not just a great dish. More importantly, you fully enjoy the entire cooking experience. You see, calmness not only improves the outcome, but also gives you meaningful experiences. And that is exactly what I want you to remember on your journey toward a happier, more intentional life. Do you think the difference between a perfect meal and a chaotic mess is just coincidence? Not at all. Rushing doesn't just ruin your food, it ruins important opportunities in life. Often, we rush because we feel like others are always getting things done faster, as if life is some never-ending race. But let me tell you something, my friend, everyone has their own rhythm. Comparing yourself to others is like trying to make a tree grow faster by staring at it. Marcus Aurelius, the famous Roman emperor, understood this deeply. He once said that the mind is like water only. When it is still, can it reflect the world clearly? Think about it. An emperor surely had to face countless pressures and enormous responsibilities every day. But Marcus Aurelius didn't try to solve everything at once. He took time to reflect, identify priorities, and then act with remarkable calm. Even in the face of crisis, he kept his mind steady and made wise decisions. The goal was never to do things faster, but to do them better. I know slowing down isn't easy, especially when the world around you seems to be moving at the speed of light. But what if I told you that those small moments of calm are actually the gateway to making everything in your life clearer and more organized? Before starting any task, try pausing for 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what is the most important thing I need to do right now? Mentally lay out the steps, as if you're tidying up a workspace in your mind. This simple but powerful ritual doesn't just give you clarity, it helps you act from a more relaxed state. And when you're relaxed, everything starts to flow, as if the world is moving in harmony with you. And stop wasting your precious time trying to do many things at once. I know it may seem like the key to success, but the truth that few people tell you is this: you can't do anything well if you're constantly multitasking. So what should you do? Choose one thing, just one, and give it your full attention and energy. It's like planting a seed. When you care for it with patience, time, and focus, it grows strong. After finishing that task, then move on to the next. You will not only get more done, but also do it better. When you stay calm, you create space for the things you truly desire to take shape more clearly. Ralph Waldo Emerson, the renowned writer and philosopher, once said, "Adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience," and he was right. Calmness not only helps you achieve better results, but also allows you to fully enjoy every step of your journey. Now imagine how your life could change if, instead of racing against time, you chose to move forward calmly and enjoy each step you be able to take. No matter how long your to-do list is, if you give yourself enough time to do each task well, you will begin to notice that everything flows more smoothly. And the best part is, you will feel more in control of your life, more at peace. Because when you do things with calmness, you create space for the good things you've always wished for to gradually appear more clearly in your life. And now, let's move on to something equally important: gratitude. Picture this. Someone hands you a box and says that inside is everything you've ever felt was missing from your life. Everything you believed would completely change your world if only you had it. Excited, you open the box, expecting a miracle. But instead, all you find is a small mirror. At first, you're confused. What does this mean? And then you realize you don't actually need anything more. What you truly need is to look at what you already have with new eyes. You see, we're often so focused on the next thing, the things we're still chasing, that we forget to appreciate the wonderful things we already have right now. But here's the real magic. When you begin to be grateful for what you already have, something amazing happens. Life starts to feel lighter. The stress that once drained you begins to fade. And almost immediately, you begin to attract more and more good things. Speaking of seeing things differently, let me share a little story, one that perfectly illustrates the power of gratitude. It's the story of a farmer who, like many of us, was never quite satisfied with what he had, and always focused on what he lacked. Every day, this farmer complained endlessly about his small, cramped, and uncomfortable house. He would often sigh and say, "There's no space. I can't relax. Why is my life like this?" He believed that only if he owned a larger, more beautiful house, then his life would finally be better. One day, unable to bear it any longer, he went to seek advice from a wise old sage in the village. The sage listened quietly, and then smiled and said, "Try this. Bring all your chickens into the house." The farmer was shocked but decided to follow the advice. The next day, he returned to the sage even more frustrated than before. "This is even worse. I can't move around with all these chickens." But the sage remained calm and replied, "Now bring the pig into the house too. The farmer, though reluctant, did as he was told. By the third day, he came back, this time furious and desperate. "This is a disaster. I can't take it anymore." The sage gently said, "Now, take the chickens and the pig out of the house." When the farmer returned home and did what the sage told him, he was amazed. Suddenly, his tiny house felt spacious and peaceful. The size of the house hadn't changed at all, but what had truly shifted was his perspective. For the first time in his life, the farmer genuinely appreciated what he had. You see, gratitude doesn't change the situation. Everything can remain exactly the same. But what truly transforms is the way you see things. And when you change how you see, you begin to notice all the wonderful opportunities that were always there, just hidden from view. The magic of gratitude is not just about improving your mood. According to psychologist Robert Emmons, gratitude is like a magic wand that helps you recognize opportunities in places where you once only saw problems. It is gratitude that aligns you with what truly matters in your life. And the most wonderful part is that you don't need any special technique to activate it, because gratitude is already the magic wand you have in your hands. Of course, the idea of gratitude is not something new. Seneca once said, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." For Stoic philosophers like him, gratitude was a daily practice. They were grateful for even the smallest things, the daily loaf of bread, the sunrise each morning, or meaningful and sincere conversations. Because when you train yourself to see what is already good and present, you stop wasting energy chasing what you think you are lacking. And by doing so, you open the door to receiving even more wonderful things in your life. Each week, set aside a quiet moment just for reflection. Find a comfortable place where no one will disturb you and take out a small piece of paper. On it, write down 3 things you are truly grateful for. But here's the most important part. Don't just write them down and move on. After each one, pause and ask yourself, how has this contributed to my goals? For example, maybe the support of a close friend has made you stronger at work, or a recent challenge helped you realize what truly matters most in your life. This reflection does more than just help you relax. It brings your mind back to the goals you genuinely want to achieve. The more you focus on what is already good in your life, the easier it becomes to attract more of the same. It is as if each small thing you are grateful for is silently building a path that brings you closer to your goals, one step at a time, even if you don't fully realize it yet. My friend, let me ask you this. What are you truly grateful for today? Share it with us in the comments below. This one simple act may be the very first step toward attracting the wonderful things you have always longed for. Because when you express gratitude, you are sending a clear message to the universe. I am ready to receive even more goodness. And now, another essential thing you need to do is disconnect from the noise. Have you ever tried listening to your favorite song while walking through a noisy street filled with car horns, alarms, and people shouting? No matter how hard you try to focus, the noise drowns out the music completely, doesn't it? That is exactly how most of us live every day. Every notification, every shallow conversation, every sensational headline is like a layer of noise that makes it hard for you to focus on what truly matters. Now, think for a moment. How can you discover what you truly desire if your mind is constantly submerged in this ongoing chaos? If you cannot reduce the surrounding noise, if you do not create space for yourself, then you will never hear the melody that is already playing within your soul. Take a moment to reflect. How much time each day do you spend watching others on social media or getting lost in loud, flashy news headlines? Things you likely won't even remember the next day. That noise does not just steal your valuable time, it fills your mind with meaningless information that brings you no closer to your real goals. Each notification, every time you compare yourself to someone else, is like a small layer of dust settling on the window frame of your mind. How can you see clearly when that window is foggy and full of dirt? But when you stop, when you decide to disconnect for a brief moment, that's when you wipe the window clean. And then the magic happens. You begin to see more clearly, seeing your own ideas, your dreams, the opportunities that have always been there but were overlooked until now. Epictetus, the famous philosopher, said this centuries ago. The truly free person is one who is not afraid to go to the very end of their own thoughts. And do you know what you need to achieve that state? It's silence. It's the space where external noise doesn't disturb you. You can't reflect deeply if your mind is always surrounded by the constant downpour of distractions. Silence is where your thoughts have the chance to be free, to grow, to transform into action, and eventually into concrete results. My dear, let me ask you this. How many times have you felt that your mind was so full you couldn't think clearly? Be honest, that feeling is exhausting, right? The noise doesn't just wear you out. It gradually pulls you away from what truly matters to you. Are you ready to do something that very few people dare to try? Turn off the outside noise. I know, it sounds simple, but to actually do it, to dare to step out of the downpour of overwhelming information, the flashing notifications, the addictive short videos, not everyone has the courage. And before we go on, I want to admit this. It won't be easy, but trust me, it's totally worth it. So here's my suggestion. Try a day without notifications. Don't worry, I'm not asking you to turn off your phone for the whole day or cut off contact with the world. I simply mean set specific times to check messages, emails, or social media. For example, only check at 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. The rest, let them be. Trust me, I've tried it. And I noticed the difference immediately. Suddenly, I had time to truly focus on my projects, on maintaining healthy habits, and most importantly, on the present moment. No more feeling jerked around by a series of mindless ting sounds. I felt like I had just regained control over my time and my mind. Another idea you could try. Spend time in nature. You don't need to go far or climb a high mountain. Just take a walk to the nearby park, or simply go out to your backyard, sit down and listen. Spend 10 minutes taking in the surrounding sounds. Breeze, the birds singing, the dry leaves rustling beneath your feet. But no cheating. Leave for the headphones at home. No podcasts, no background music. Just you, your mind, and nature. And then you'll realize something wonderful. It's as if nature is quietly reminding you of a slow, genuine rhythm that's always been there. You just haven't been listening because you were too busy. When you turn off all the noise, it's like a firefighter facing a fire. The first thing they must do is put out the chaos. Only then can they see what's hidden beneath the smoke of distraction. And in that moment when everything becomes truly quiet, your mind becomes fertile ground where ideas and dreams can sprout. It's in that silent space that you can truly focus on what you want and start attracting it clearly, slowly, but surely, without being diverted by the noise of distractions. Now, once you've found quiet in your day, let's talk about what nurtures you every night: sleep. Have you ever tried to use your phone when the battery is at only 10%? Everything starts to slow down. Apps don't respond. The device lags, and if you don't charge it soon, it shuts off completely. Now think about this. How many days do you live with your body and mind running at just 10% energy? Imagine how amazing your day would be if each morning you woke up with 100% energy. My friend, I understand. You might be thinking, I don't have time to rest, or I need to make the most of this time to get more work done. But what if I told you that this way of thinking is actually harming you more than helping? Here's a truth that few people tell you. Resting is not a waste of time. It's the smartest investment you can make in yourself. It's the time when your body repairs, your mind regenerates, and your energy is replenished for the next day. And believe it or not, rest isn't just lying down in bed after a long day. True rest is when you create a space, an environment, a ritual where both your body and mind are truly restored. Think of it like maintaining a car. If you don't change the oil, check the engine or the brakes, the car still runs. But one day, it will break down suddenly and dangerously. You might ask yourself, then what should you do to sleep better? And that will be something we explore in the next part, practical tips, so that you don't just sleep enough, but actually sleep well, and wake up every day with the full energy you deserve. Your body and mind are just like that car. They need to be checked, to be maintained every night. When you get enough sleep, you don't just feel better, you think sharper, make better decisions, and most importantly, you step into a clearer mental state to attract what you truly desire. And no, this isn't just a metaphor or motivational talk. Science has proven this clearly. At night, when you rest, your brain enters a deep cleaning mode. Sounds magical, right? But it's the truth. A study from the University of Rochester's Neuroscience Center found that while you sleep, your brain quietly eliminates the toxins accumulated during the day. The brain's lymphatic system, what we can call the overtime work crew, acts like a sophisticated vacuum cleaner, gently sweeping away anxiety, stress, and toxins to prepare for a fresh start the next morning. When you get enough sleep, you wake up as if you've hit the reset button on yourself. Your mind is clear, sharp, and ready to focus on what truly matters. Even Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest emperors in history, understood this. He once said, "Even the soul needs rest to be effective." Despite bearing heavy responsibilities, he never sacrificed his own restoration for surface-level performance. For him, rest was not a luxury, it was a survival strategy. At the end of each day, he would often take time to reflect, disconnect from the demands of leadership, and return to himself. So, if an emperor could prioritize rest, why can't you? I understand you might be thinking, that sounds nice, but with work, family, and a ton of responsibilities, how can I find time to rest? Don't worry, I have a simple evening ritual that you can start applying tonight to help you gradually make rest an essential part of your life. A simple, effective evening ritual. Turn off all screens at least 30 minutes before bedtime. Yes, including your phone. The bright screen disrupts your natural rhythm. Instead of scrolling, pick up a light book, a relaxing novel, or an inspiring read. Avoid anything too stimulating for the mind, as the goal right now is to relax. Write down an intention for the next day. No need to write a long paragraph, just one line. For example, tomorrow I'll spend an hour doing something that excites me, or I'll truly listen in every conversation. This helps your mind adjust before sleep, knowing what you're aiming for and why it matters. Spend 5 minutes breathing deeply when you lie down. No complicated techniques needed. Just breathe in slowly. Count to 4. Hold for a few seconds. Then breathe out slowly, counting to 6. Repeat 5 times. Your body will naturally enter a deep state of relaxation, as if telling yourself, now is the time to restore. So, next time you think of sleep as just a basic need, remember, even the brightest stars need darkness to shine. And you're no exception. 8. Accept failure. My friend, let me be blunt with you, even if you don't want to hear it. Failure is inevitable. But that's not a reason to fear or feel ashamed. On the contrary, think of failure as the first brush strokes on the blank canvas of your life. At first, they may just be messy streaks of color, even ugly. But each stroke, each mistake, each fall, is the foundation for a picture to gradually appear. And here's the best news. Failure is not the end. It's the beginning of something better, clearer, more authentic. Did you know that many great inventions in human history began as mistakes? In the 1970s, a scientist named Spencer Silver was working diligently in the 3M laboratory, aiming to create a super strong adhesive. But instead of achieving success, he created an adhesive so weak it could barely stick to any surface. A failure, obviously. The project was shelved, and the useless glue sat in a drawer for years. But then, one of Silver's colleagues, Art Fry, saw things through a different lens. He didn't see a mistake. He saw an untapped opportunity. Fry came up with a brilliant idea. Use that weak glue to create sticky notes, something you could stick on surfaces and remove easily without leaving any marks. The result? Post-it notes. Yes, post-it notes. The small yet nearly indispensable item in offices, classrooms, or any place that needs organization. And do you know what's most interesting? A familiar part of our lives came from a failure. Isn't that amazing? Do you see where I'm going with this? The issue isn't the failure, but how you react to it. As philosopher Epictetus once said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Mistakes don't define you, but they can shape the path you take if you choose to use them as tools. Each time you stumble, it could actually be a step towards something greater. Listen to this. Failure may look like huge walls, but in reality, they are doors yet to be opened. So, how do you open them? Be gentle with yourself. This is the first and most important thing. We often demand perfection from ourselves, and that's what makes us see failure through a distorted lens. But think about it. How many opportunities have you missed because you were afraid to fail? When you allow yourself to fail, You also allow yourself to learn. Failure isn't the end. It's more like a rehearsal. You don't have to be perfect from the first try. Each attempt is a step closer to the result you're after. Use the lessons from failure as stepping stones. Each failure is a step that lifts you higher, but only if you choose to step up. Don't just blame yourself. Ask, what did I learn from this? How will I do differently next time? When you ask the right questions, every misstep becomes a wisdom ladder, making you stronger, wiser, and better prepared for the challenges ahead. Focus on the present. Too often, we get stuck in the past, drowning in mistakes, as if they're chains we can't break. But the truth is, the past doesn't determine the future. You now have new tools, new understanding, and most importantly, a new opportunity right in front of you. Ask yourself, what can I do today to prove that I've grown? With every small action, you're building something better. Do you see it? Everything starts to connect when you change the way you view failure. Not by erasing or denying it, but by transforming it into strength. When you do that, something interesting happens. You start to feel more relaxed. You no longer pressure yourself to be perfect. And in that calm state, everything starts flowing naturally, as if the road that was once full of obstacles suddenly becomes clear. And do you know what's the best part? The more relaxed you are, the easier it is to attract what you truly desire. Because failure isn't the end. It's the spark that ignites something new and undefined. So imagine, what masterpiece could you create if you dared to let go of the fear of those first brush strokes? Embrace failure. Because every time you fall, stumble, or go off track, you're one step closer to the beautiful picture of the life you truly want to create. It's not theory, it's the truth, painted by the experiences of those who dared to dream, dared to act, and dared to fail. 9. Visualize it and make it real. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine you're sitting in a movie theater. The lights go out, the projector starts running. But what surprises you is the character who appears on the screen. It's you. And this isn't just any movie. It's the story of your life, as you've always dreamed it. Everything you desire is there. The goals you've achieved, the people who've inspired you, and the moments that make your heart race. Your eyes light up. You can see every detail clearly, as if it's happening right now. Now, my friend, I have a big question for you. What would that movie look like if you were the director? Trust me, visualization isn't just a nice-sounding exercise. It's a powerful tool. It's like you're writing the script for your life before the camera starts rolling. When you take time to visualize clearly what you want, you're not just daydreaming, you're training your mind to make it real. Because everything you create outside starts from within. Think about it. If you don't have a clear image of what you want, how can you expect to achieve it? Let's start with just 5 minutes a day. Simply take 5 minutes, close your eyes, and vividly visualize the goal you're pursuing. But don't just see it, live it in your mind. For example, if your goal is to write a book, don't just imagine being a writer. Visualize you're sitting at your desk, the morning sunlight streaming through the window. You're typing the final lines, finishing the last chapter. You hold the first printed copy in your hands, gazing at your name printed on the cover. You feel pride, relief, and deep joy flooding over you. That emotion, that's the key. It doesn't just change your mood in the moment, it resets the operating system in your mind, so you start acting as if it's already close. And when you hold that book in your hands, the book you once only dared to dream about, what does it feel like? Could it be overwhelming emotion? Pride mixed with profound happiness? Do you feel your heart racing? Your soul filled with the feeling of, I did it. When you vividly visualize that, your brain begins to act as though everything is really happening. And that's when you start reshaping your reality from the inside out. Next, write your goals as if you've already achieved them. This isn't just a simple list, it's a declaration of life. For example, instead of writing, I want to have my own business, write, I am owning a successful business, where I do what I love, help others, and make a positive impact every day. Add the details. How do you start your day? What are your morning habits like? How do you feel interacting with customers and your team? You're living in that vision, not just writing it as a far-off wish. And here's a simple but effective tip. Turn this process into a relaxing ritual. Don't treat it as a dry task to complete. See it as a moment to enjoy yourself. Play some soft music, choose a quiet corner, and allow yourself to dream. Because, my friend, dreaming is not a waste of time. It's how you guide your mind. It's when you create your emotional blueprint for what you truly desire. Because everything great begins in the mind. When you visualize clearly, with details and emotion, you're not just dreaming, you're taking action. Action on a mental level. And that will gradually lead you to small but purposeful actions every day. What are you waiting for? Start visualizing, start believing, and start shaping the life you've always wanted. And let me tell you something important. The best of you is still ahead of you. 10. Trust in what's to come. Imagine you have a small garden and you decide to plant carrots. You carefully prepare the soil, sow the seeds, and water them every day. The first week you eagerly check, waiting for the little green shoots to appear. But nothing. You wonder, did I do something wrong? You look closely at the soil. Still nothing. But you don't give up. You continue caring for it, continue watering it. Another week passes. Still nothing. Frustration begins to creep in. Could the seeds be bad? Did I do it wrong? Is it even worth it? But what you can't see is what's quietly happening beneath the surface. The roots are growing. They're finding their way, anchoring into the soil, preparing to break through the earth. From the outside, it may seem like nothing is happening, but inside, everything is moving. And then at the moment you least expect it, the first sprout appears. And from there, everything starts to blossom. My friend, the carrots are not in a hurry. But when they appear, they are strong, determined, and exactly as you imagined. Do you see it now? Life works the same way. When you're trying to attract what you truly desire, it may seem from the outside that nothing is changing. But that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Your intentions, efforts, and energy step by step are paving the way. It's just that you haven't seen the results yet. And when you least expect it, that's when the results show up. Let's be honest, nobody likes waiting. But what if I told you that? Patience is not just about sitting still. It's the belief that when you do your part, the universe is doing its part too. Marcus Aurelius once said, Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Think about a river. It doesn't care how many twists or boulders block its path. It never stops. It always moves toward the ocean slowly, steadily, quietly. But nothing can stop it. And so are you. You've planted the seeds. You've nurtured them. Now it's time to trust. Not just in the dream, but in yourself. And remember, the best is still on its way. Are you ready? Start today. No hurry, but don't stop. Now, imagine you're in the middle of a truly tough phase. You've made a bold decision to leave your steady office job, sell off everything unnecessary, and begin a journey to explore the world. Sounds exciting, doesn't it? A new beginning, full of freedom and promise. But then, reality hits. Just a few weeks in, everything starts to crumble. Savings deplete faster than expected. The jobs you thought would be easy to find aren't there at all. Anxiety floods in. You start to doubt, did I make a huge mistake? A sense of confusion rises, and you try to control everything. You search for solutions obsessively, as though if you don't solve it now, everything will collapse. But then, you remember what you've learned. You remember that sometimes what needs to be done isn't to force control, but to relax and trust. You sit back, take a deep breath, write down your intentions, vividly imagine the life you want, to create and let go of some control, and then something surprising happens. In a completely random conversation, someone mentions a work exchange program where you can travel and stay with locals for free while doing light work. You look up, your eyes light up. This is exactly what I need. Do you see? You wouldn't have recognized that opportunity if you hadn't allowed yourself to let down your guard, if you hadn't trusted in what's to come. My friend, remember this. Trusting doesn't mean sitting with your arms crossed, waiting. You still need to act, still need to work, still need to take steps toward what you want. But at the same time, you need to learn to relax, let go a bit, and be open to receiving. And when doubts start to creep into your mind, admit it. They will. Certainly come repeat this phrase like a steady reminder. I'm doing my part. The rest will come at the right time. Write it down. Stick it on the mirror, on your desk, by your bed, anywhere you'll see it every day. Let this phrase remind you that you are not alone on this journey. The universe is doing its part, quietly, steadily, and precisely. Never forget, trust in what's coming. Because while you're silently planting seeds, life is quietly working to help them sprout. And when you least expect it, the sweet fruit will appear with surprise, with gratitude, and with the feeling of, I was right not to give up. I invite you right now to embrace all that we've discovered together today. Every time you pause, every time you visualize, every act of letting go, every time you choose to trust instead of panic. None of this is procrastination. It's the steps that bring you closer to what you truly desire. Remember, in calmness and trust, there is no emptiness, only possibility. It is there that your dreams are born, and from there, they begin to take shape in reality. If you've made it this far, I have something special I want you to do. Write in the comments, I relax and attract what I desire. That's a sign for me to know that you are one of the true Stoic warriors, not only listening, but acting, practicing, and living what you've learned. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Like this video if you found it helpful, because you don't want to miss out on what's next, and I don't want you to miss the bigger journey ahead. I also invite you to check out the playlist showing on the screen, where you'll find plenty of stories, lessons, and practical suggestions to help guide your life with more wisdom and confidence every day. See you next time. Take care, and keep nurturing that Stoic spirit within you. You're not just living, you're building a life worth living.